Hello, Cancer, and welcome back to Mind, Body, and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do reading for February 2020. I hope you're well, Cancer. So I have the flu, and I may be coughing and sneezing sometime in the reading, but yeah, please bear with me. So, Four of Swords already as your current energy. So this is a general reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, then it just doesn't. All right. So Four of Swords as your current energy. 10 of Cups as your challenge. Isn't that interesting? Don't worry, I pre-shuffled the cards already. So I'm just going to go with whatever shows up right now. It is quite hasty. Now let's see what is your focus. The Hanged Man as your focus. The Ace of Cups as your advice. Wow, look what's here. Wow. Okay. Let's calm down here. That's way too many, but I am going to take this Chariot as your future energy. And let's see what's the bottom of this deck. Knight of Wands, which is your underlying energy. Yeah. Underlying energy. Knight of Wands. Interesting. All right, I'm going to pull out the clarifiers before we go deeper into this story. Okay, we have the Chariot again. Ooh la la. And the Emperor as your current energy with the Four of Swords. The Chariot is Cancer energy. That's very interesting. Right. We have the Hermit with the 10 of Cups as your challenge. Okay. We have the Tower with the Hanged Man as your focus. Ha. What on earth is happening here? I'm only putting like major arcana here in this second deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whew. So the Aeon with the Ace of Cups as your advice. And Queen of Swords with the Chariot as your future energy. That's a very intense reading, Cancer. Wow. And the Lovers. Shit. What's going on? Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 major arcana. This is very important. Apparently February is very important for you right now. This year. I think it has to do with your soul journey here. It's very karmic. Karmic not depends on your definition of karma. Let me just explain my definition of karma to understand where am I meaning this from. Karmic in the sense that you as a soul are on this journey, and you have this life experience that you this current incarnation, and you choose what you want to experience in this incarnation. You choose before you incarnate your parents and some major life experiences that you're going to have in order for your soul to grow in a certain direction, like your evolution of your consciousness to be able to incorporate certain lessons and grow in this direction. So I feel like this is one of those moments this month of February where a lot of these very important themes are coming up for you. And it's also that there's this Knight of Wands here, and the Knights talk about expansion, the pages are about transformation, is that growth that comes natural as children. And the Knights is like the teenagers, they go out there, they go to explore, and they want to expand their experience. And the Knight of Wands is expansion of your spiritual realm, of your it's very experience based. You want to have certain experience in order to expand your consciousness and your awareness, right? And with the Lovers, it comes with the Lovers. I really like the imagery for these lovers. I hope you can see it. I want to read it from this deck. It has a very small booklet, so it's very short reads. And yeah, let's see, because I see some symbolism there that I don't see no in the weight deck about the lover. So I'm curious now. And the lover is number 6, and the chariot that came in twice is number 7. So let's see what this says. So the lovers, it's a Gemini energy below that. So the lovers cross arms behind the cup. Can you see this? Sorry. In the sky, there is a spear, a unicorn, and a rose within a Star of David. The trees on either side refers to the Garden of Eden, with the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. The woman's hair is like pitted rock, a sign of the ancientness of human sexual traditions. The ground shows the earthiness of love. The unicorn and the rose reflect its mystical qualities. And divinatory meanings is the importance of love, depending on the place in the spread, the state of a specific relationship. I don't see it though in this particular deck in this particular reading having to do with one person. I think it's the state of love in your life. And I think that you're learning a lot about love in this month of February, and in this stage of your life, in this stage of the evolution of your own consciousness and personal growth. Whether it's through an actual relationship and partnership that you find yourself in right now, maybe you're having some trying times that really allows you to open up to in a direction that you weren't open before. With this expansion of the Knight of Wands, it may be that you're simply experiencing love in a different way that you did not expect. Maybe from somebody who was a friend for ages, and then it becomes a lover. Or maybe you're simply experiencing a higher part of love, not just the carnal and the romantic love, but more like that. Maybe you start getting a taste of that unconditional love that you can feel for yourself first, and for other people. That can be your extended family or your friends, but it can also be for strangers, for humanity at large, for everything that exists. Is that type of love that comes from spiritual experience, from really going within. It's a lesson that we all have to learn. Some of us are lucky and we witness that from the early stages of our life and development, where maybe a parent or caretaker or both of them showed this type of unconditional love, so we just grew up with it. Some of us didn't, and some of us need to learn about the existence of unconditional love through maybe some type of soulmate relationship. But these soulmate relationships aren't just happy joy. They tend to be quite harsh lessons, right? So yeah, if you're single, you may learn about love in your own inner journey, or by being exposed to I don't know, a number of not working relationships or attempts of sorts, or When you look for love outside of yourself, and you realize that you can't really, is not satisfying enough, or at least codependency. Or if you're in relationships, I think that you're learning about love by like if you're in romantic relationships, by really working and expanding through some pretty intense and difficult themes that whew, that take you places, but this is like really great because there's growth, there's definite growth, and it's that type of growth that you get to it through your own experience, not because I tell you that unconditional love exists, or not because they tell you at church, or not because you heard stories or you read some books or movies about it. No, this comes because you're experiencing it yourself. That's what I'm saying here, which is fascinating. I can't. I keep like my gaze keeps stopping at this. Is it the unicorn? They said. They say unicorn because I keep seeing it as a goat. It's just like, what kind of unicorn is this? Okay, yeah, it's unicorn because it has a horn in the center. But the mirror card of the lovers is the devil. So I kept thinking about the devil here. But never mind that. I like that they're holding this cup together, and you see there's the same cup right over here, and I like that it's also kind of in the same, almost same position in the center of the card. We're gonna get there in a moment. Of course, it can also mean that you're finding love, like a partner, if you've been looking for that. And but I don't like to go in that type of prophesizing that you're going to meet your soulmate in soulmate, not your soulmate, more like your lifelong partner or something like this in February, because I don't like to create that kind of expectation. But it's not just that, it's also that love comes to us in different ways. We need to go through our own individual journey that comes from based on my soul's journey and my trauma and my wounds. And I always need something very particular for that in order for me to find love. And it usually comes in that moment where I'm able to access and heal some of those core wounds that we carry. Okay, let's see what's going on in here. Okay, so we have the Four of Swords, the Emperor, and Chariot. So you're in a time right now where you need to rest. There are two fours here, by the way. You need to rest. Four is very static energy. Funny enough, the Chariot isn't. So maybe you're being pulled into two directions. You maybe feel the need for rest. You really feel tired. You really need to restore yourself and put your mind at ease, especially. And with the Emperor, maybe you really also want to feel to rest in your power. Maybe it's like a new level of empowerment that you haven't felt before, where you felt was secure within yourself and stuff. And you need to rest with this, but you also feel the pull to go out there and conquer the world with the new felt power. And I'm getting that this is not what you necessarily need to do right now. Not conquer the world, not, but you definitely can use these security that you found within yourself, like you're feeling secure in your mind and feeling this moment that you need to kind of sit with it, like reflect a little bit and let your mind at ease to get used to this feeling of power that as I said, maybe it's just new to you. And you can navigate out into the world from I don't know why it comes to mind, like not in a rush, not like a from a dominion, not to the not from the idea of going out there to conquer, but more from going to explore. The Knight of Wands is very explorative. This is the theme of your reading, by the way. This is your current energy, so this is kind of what you're working with the whole month. I think these are like points and steps into that. I do want to read the. Actually, I'm gonna read both of them, uh, because they do have very like tiny different differences in meanings, and I'd like to really. I feel they're significant now. Like if I look at the this particular emperor compared to the Wraith emperor, this one is he's naked, and he looks like Adam, from the Garden on Eden. And these guys are naked too. There's all naked people here. Cancer. What are you up to? Okay. Okay, Andrea, less jokes, more reading. Okay, so the Emperor, of course, is Aries energy. You know that already. The tree behind the emperors is Yggdrasil, the world tree from Scandinavian myth, with its roots deep in the mysterious origins of life and its branches reaching up to the stars and beyond. The emperor holds the rod he received from the empress. The gold bow in his other hand symbolizes the material world. The diamond overhead contains the colors of humanity. It means influence of society, law, resurgence of energy, sexual potency, arrogance, insensitivity, energy, and desire. Okay. But that's an interesting one. The dark side of the emperor in general, from the archetype that I'm familiar with, is indeed that he can get a little bit tripped on his own power, and maybe tyrannical in a sense, over controlling. But here it's talking about arrogance, insensitivity, and yeah, this whole energy and desire. But you have influence on society now, and there's you have a lot of energy. That's why probably you feel this pull of like really going out there and pushing through. But this appears also as your future energy. That's why I feel like this is not the moment for you to go like this. Not right now, you know. Now it's time for rest. And it's time for you to really become familiar with this emperor energy, and feel also in through the call of the chariot, the call of moving forward. I'll read the chariot too. My God, it's gonna be a very long reading, my dear Cancer. So this is Cancer energy, so you can see right here the Cancer symbol. And it says, a boat with wheels rushes through a rough sea. The boat is red, the color of energy. That energy, the same energy. A red glow surrounds the figure in the boat. Above is a mystical beast, part boar, part wolf. It signifies our deepest fears, unnameable and wild. So, meanings: willpower in dealing with problems, will to continue, deep fear driving the person, triumph over fear. And now connecting it with what this whole thing with insensitivity and arrogance that was coming along with the emperor. I think that too has to do with your fears, with your deepest fears. And that somehow connects you with love, with what you know of love. Maybe it's a good time to look into your father figure. What was your father figure like, and how do you connect that with arrogance and with being insensitive? Was he a very present figure in your life, or did he have this characteristic of being insensitive at times and rather arrogant? Maybe he was also quite impulsive and very powerful, dominant figure. I don't know. You need to reflect on this because I think it's really important to you right now. Father figure, these keywords that are talking here, what are your biggest fear right now? Because you are able, right now, you are able to conquer those fears. And I think this is what's getting you closer, deep down into that space of true love. That love, that's the magic of everything. And that doesn't mean love that you find from someone else. When that someone else, a romantic partner, whether it is he is or she is already in your life, or whether you're hoping for them to come, they're not going to fill up that space of love that you so hardly desire or need. That's something that we can do for ourselves. We need to experience that for ourselves. That's your own experience. Nobody on this world can or should deprive you of that experience. And if you take it for someone else, it will be just for a while, and then it's just going to be used in power games and the codependency, and so on. So you don't even want it like that. Trust me. Well, don't trust me. Have your own experience, and you know these things by for yourself. You don't need to believe anything that's coming outside of yourself here. Anyhow, if a partner does show up into your life, he will just become a mirror of that love. That's it. That's it. And it's going to be a beautiful addition to the love that you already feel, but it's not going to be something that you're going to be dependent on and need in order to feel alive and to feel worthy and to feel connected and to feel um that beautiful, beautiful bliss that comes with unconditional love. This is really beautiful, Cancer. I'm getting very emotional here. And yeah, I think the Hermit here is the one that keeps telling me that this is not so much about other people and it's much more about you and your own personal experience here. You have this Ten of Cups as your challenge with the Hermit. The Ten of Cups is like the dream of happiness. It's just happiness. And okay, here it's portrayed as these two people that are complementing each other and they're like balancing each other. You see, they're having like both their arms up and creating these. It's like a V, almost like a container, and they have these kids that are happily playing here, and the rainbow and everything. This is like the Hollywood story of happily ever after. And it's very possible that you're struggling a little bit with that story. Does this story really fit you? Are you falling into this story? Is this something that you really want? The archetypal story of the lover and the beloved, and they meet and they have a family and it all goes perfect and nobody suffers and everything is that even real? Is that even possible? How does this work? I'm not saying that people can't be happy in this traditional type of family system. Of course they can. There can be so much happiness in all this. But this is not the only type of happiness that we can experience. And we need to honor ourselves and our own journey. Where are we going? With the Hermit here, I feel like you are you are in your own inner journey here now, in your own investigative healing journey, where you're breaking light in your darkest corners of your psyche, where you are you need some alone time, But it's challenging for you because maybe you're getting pulled by this idea that we all need to be couples and we all need to make babies and we all need to, uh, there's something wrong with me if I'm not living this story. Check in with that story. Check in with what love really means for you. And also, yeah, check in with that whole father figure thing with the emperor there. This whole red, uh, here that this it says that it's the color of energy. What is the color, especially of the root chakra? Red is the earth energy, is the very base energy of survival, and it's actually also a bit orangey. It has to do with sexuality as well. This one's got have to do with sexuality as well. They were saying something about sexual energy and desire and so on. Sexuality is important, but sexual energy is not to be used only through sex. That can be, of course, is very satisfying. We all want to have sex. We all like sex if we have good sex, whatever. But when we're not engaged into a relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are wasting our sexual energy. We can put it to good use. We know about sexual energy is actually life force energy. We can harness that energy and we can really putting into our personal growth. I'm sure some of you had heard about Kundalini awakenings and so on, and about all these practitioners that don't preserve their sexual energies because they can use it for their own practice and spirituality and so on, like monks or, well, it depends on the tradition. When doing meditation retreats, they particularly is forbidden to have sex or even to masturbate, but it hasn't nothing to do with the scene or something like this. No, it's because they want you to be able to really tap into that energy and have it work for you within you. I'm literally feeling my second chakra now, really. Uh, it just pulls my attention to it as we're having this conversation right now. It's also Virgo energy. I hope you're making something out of this. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit too drawn into this whole thing with alone versus the story of happiness. You know, there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. You can be in a couple for 20 years and feel really, really lonely. You can be surrounded by friends and family and feel really, really lonely. And yet you can be completely alone and not feel lonely. In both cases, like it can go both ways. You can be alone and lonely. You can be surrounded by friends and family and not feel lonely, feel really connected and so on. But my point is that it has nothing to do with the physical, am I alone or not? Sometimes we need that alone time in order to get used with aloneness and not loneliness. Find that source of love within ourselves that can help us power through pretty much everything we can access at any time when we have that deep connection with ourselves. When we're always surrounded, and you Cancer, you pick up other people's energy quite fast, and that can be quite confusing. Water signs in general might need a lot of alone time in order to sort out your energy from other people's energy and to ground and to come back to self. That's bringing you balance. It is challenging though, because there's this pull and push here, and there's all these fears. Maybe the archetypal fear of being alone, of dying alone. We are wired for connection. We are social beings. That's part of our like very like species programming, right? So it's very natural for us to want to be connected, to want to be seen, to want to need this stuff. So I'm not promoting like go into the mountains and die alone. That can be an option if you want that eventually, but that's I don't think that's the conversation we're having now. I think it's just necessary for you to understand that if you are alone or if you feel lonely, it's not always the same thing, and you can you can be happy alone too, and you can be happy in a relationship too. It doesn't need to be the traditional way. It doesn't need to be like what society that dictates or what your culture, wherever you're coming from, dictates and so on. And that's why I think it's important with this emperor here, the father figure. To it's like also symbolic of the culture where you're coming from. I think it was saying in the little description about societal influence. He's able to influence society, right? Check on yourself. What's your societal influence, and where do you find yourself between this push and pull between alone time and this desire of the typical happily ever after? Your focus is the hangman with the tower. And the hangman talks about like taking a real break, and here you already have the tendency, you have the need, you feel tired, you want your rest, but hangman suggests that you may be looking at a longer rest than you expected, and I think that's perfectly fine. You need this time to just like change your perspective a little bit. You need to hang from that tree. This is actually the same tree. Well, this is sometimes depicted as a tree, not just as a stick. But this comes from the same mythology, the Scandinavian Odin hanging from the tree of knowledge, and he goes through that voluntarily. He goes through that process on his own choice because he knows he gets enlightenment from that, he gets knowledge. So yeah, maybe one of your biggest fears, this loneliness, with your focus on the hanged man, is that I think that you're finally opening yourself up. You through these trying times that you've been through whatever you've been through, whatever is in a relationship or outside of relationships, alone time versus couple time, a relationship with your family, really, with your parents, with your siblings, if you have husband and kids, relationship with your husband and kids, and how's that playing out. You finally having like a full chain that gives you that type of opening, and there's definitely opening here. Your heart is opening, your heart chakra is opening. Sorry. The hangman does talk about opening up to sacrifice, and we only are able to sacrifice parts of ourselves or ourselves when we truly love. And this is also is something that's done on purpose. This person has very serene look on his face, and this comes with the tower. And the tower, it's all about um, breaking down the what's artificial, what's not really working anymore. See, this tower here is very, very artificial. It's very like unnatural. Oh, has to do with technology, and it has to do with what we've been building around ourselves to protect ourselves from the world, to protect ourselves from pain, to protect ourselves. No, we want connection, but then when connection comes to us, we're not really able to show up for ourselves or as ourselves because we want to protect ourselves from pain and so on. There's like crazy dynamics can happen here. And this, see, there's this opening, there's this crack here. This is something to be desired at this point in your life. You want this crack to open. You want yourself to feel the pain of the past. You want yourself to feel the fears and feel wherever you felt ignored or wherever you felt people were insensitive to you. When are you becoming insensitive to other people's pain or to other people's suffering because you shut down, because it's too much, because you're just taking it in and it makes you hurt? This higher sense of love that's coming with when you start working your spiritual on aware of your spirituality. The highest path of love is compassion. It really is. That's all that is. You couple the typical love that we all hear in the stories with compassion, and that takes you someplace else. And it's an amazing place to be. I think Mother Teresa was saying, like, God, break my heart in so many pieces that I can, what was it? That I can feel the whole world through it, or something like that. I need to find it out. If I find it out, the quote, I will put it on the description box just to not let you hanging. Okay. Advice, Ace of Cups and the Aeon. The Aeon is actually judgment, right? And Ace of Cups, the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups does talk about opening your heart again. It's about finding that place of unconditional love, pure unconditional love. When we feel that for ourselves, when we have our cup full, we are able to come into relationships with a full cup. These people drink from this cup and this cup never ends. And it happens like this because they have their own cups full, because they see this cup overflows and it connects to the sea, to the sea of the collective. We're never alone when we have our hearts open, because we can feel everything and we can feel everyone and we can connect through love, not necessarily through the pain or through the and see here in the Aeon, this talks about the cycles of the earth and the cycles of humanity as well. And you see, you have this apocalyptic type of environment with the earth cracking open. There's a lot of cracking open here. This is cracking open, the earth is cracking open. You can see the lava here, you can see lava here. You can see like raining fire here and here, raining water. Also fire and water energy, which is really important for them to complement each other, right? And here you see this baby being born. Of course, for some of you that were hoping to have a baby, maybe this is a sign that this can happen as you are opening yourself up to this type of love. You are probably becoming finally ready to have that baby. Maybe you weren't ready up until now, but that's just for a small group of you. For the majority of the people watching this reading, it has a lot to do with being reborn, because this talks about judgment. This talks about, like, when you're done with this cycle, whatever cycle you find yourself in, you are coming into that place where there's that absolution, salvation, resolution, where you are truly checking up with yourself, checking in as a soul, and be like, okay, out of these whole lessons that I wanted to learn as a soul in this particular existence, in this lifetime, where am I at? What am I still going to learn? Where can I? What have I finished learning? What am I done with? This is a complete rebirth. And I think it's important for you. This also talks about rebirth. It's really A beautiful thing to keep in mind, as this is your advice, that you're going through a deep process of coming back to life and coming to a new life. The life that's when you open your heart, when you truly open your heart and you experience that it's in itself a rebirth, because we come into the world in a completely different way after that experience. We can never ignore that. We can forget it, but it comes back to us. It's something that is so deeply expansive. Oh gosh, this cold is pretty bad. Sorry. And after this whole thing, after you've dealt with the fear, after you've been integrating your early life experience, and you've dealt with your fear of loneliness and expectations of happily ever after you've changed your perspective and you allowed yourself to open yourself up really and allow for the structures that come from this long lost past, and you most likely from your father figure, societal patriarchal type of belief system that you've integrated and you've like built around yourself, around the core of your being. And as you allow those to kind of fall apart and open up, that's when you find real love, that's when you rebirth, that's when you open up, and that's when you're ready to go on to your journey, and that's when you're ready to really integrate good and bad, white and dark, but into that sense of like non-duality with a pure heart. See, this guy's got square here at the heart, and the heart is white, is pure. He doesn't he has a container for this purity. He has his strong boundaries. The Queen of Swords does talk about boundaries. So once you have a container for your heart and you keep it always there with you, you're ready to go. You really are ready to go. You have everything that you need on your physical environment, but you're also guided by divinity. He has a star here in the top of his head, the pure heart and the knowledge and awareness of both light and dark. You know, the white sphinx symbolizes temperance, and the black sphinx symbolizes the devil, actually. You see they're kind of like pulling in different directions, but together they can balance each other out. Sometimes we need temperance to hold us back a little bit so we don't do stupid things, so we temper ourselves up. But sometimes we need the devil to seduce us into certain directions so that we get out of ourselves. And the lovers can also be exactly this. We need to grow. Number six generally actually talks about becoming into service and coming, once you realize the self. For the 1 to 4, it's the story from 1 to 4, it's to really realizing that you are a self. 1 is that, okay, I come into being. 2 is a birth of duality. It's me versus the other. 3 is resolution, coming together. 4 is stability, really becoming stable into that sense of self. 5 is that type of growth that is a little bit insecure, where you just like, need to kind of want to go back to the security of the 4, but there's no growth in there. It feels like risky. 6 is when you have that revelation that is more to it than just the self. We are all connected in this sea of love. We are all connected. We are interconnected beings. We can only survive if we work together as a species. That's one. But even that, we're all sharing this planet together, and we are all part of it. We come from the earth, we go back to the earth, we eat from the earth, we decompose and help more nourish the next life to come. We give birth and we die and so on. I don't know why I'm getting so agitated here. Sorry, I hope I'm not too much. So you're learning a great great deal of stuff this month, and it's an amazing journey, and I'm so proud of you, Cancer. You have no clue. And I think you're going really to your element, and you're able to keep your pure heart with this. Damn right. The Queen of Swords does talk a lot about those boundaries that can allow you to keep that pure heart. Being able to take that alone time so you can show up in whatever relationships come to you from a place of pure heartedness. Full cup. Not neediness. Because you can fulfill your own needs here. And that's the joy. And we all can, we're just not aware of it. That's the thing. We are conditioned into this world to think that we need things outside of ourselves in order to feel fulfilled, but we don't really. Yes, we're very vulnerable as children, and we obviously need the care and the love of parents, and these are the models that we internalize from our society and from our family. But as a spiritual being, you are able to find that deep love within yourself. Then you're able to share that love with the extension of self. That's what you're learning. The sixes are about extension of self. That's why you can come into service without feeling depleted. Sacred Phoenix Heart, number 21. See, what does this say? This must be the longest reading ever. Quite passionate about it, but it is a really important point in your life. Really, really important. So those of you that really feel drawn to this reading and were also able to stay through it, I really congratulate you, because that's such an important step. And this sounds quite dramatic as well. So Sacred Phoenix Heart, the poem from Rumi says, under the cover of blood, love veils many rose gardens. In total faith, love tenderly guides every lover to the garden of the heart. Reason says the world is limited in 6 directions. There is no way out. Love says there is a way, and I have traveled it many, many times. It's that way out of this tower. I love this poem and how it fits in this. Okay, let's expand a little bit on this. So love guides us through travails that seem improbable, if not impossible. It does not shy away from any challenge, from any cause. It cannot. It's just love's way. Love says to us, there is always another way. You are receiving this guidance now. Perhaps you're scratching your head and you don't really know what's this all about. Do you choose to believe in love or in the death of sorts or your heart faces? Oh, okay, that gets a little bit confusing. Okay, so you are guided to accept the closed doors, the death, the pain, and to let it become tinder for your fire. Cry whatever tears need to be cried so your tinder can be dry and ready to create a spark. So your heart needs that sacred phoenix, ready to die into life within you, is hungry for the fire. Let it feast so it can fully fulfill its potential, its divine destiny, and become born again into new form. Become born again. Look at this. Oh, what was that? Become born again into new form, more divinely aligned and alive than ever before. This oracle comes with a message for you. You may feel as though you have been wandering in a desert for many years with no oasis in sight. You might have been through darkness, through trials, endured confusion and uncertainty as you sought for your truth, sought divine revelation, and sought your purpose to confirm your plans. Seek no more. The answers are now given or very soon will be, and the life, the passion, the purpose, it will all come to you in clarity. Does life need to be grasped for? Is it bestowed according to grace and destiny? It needs not be sought so much as received. The spiritual destiny that calls your soul, even whilst you may feel your bodily ears are deaf to the call, makes your heart leap. It is as though hearing the beloved's voice and stirring an ancient memory of love so powerful moves you, even without you necessarily understanding how or why. So let the life come to you. Be prepared to let the old version of your life pass away into the new life now being born. I can't say this. I can't believe how well this fits in here. What does this mean? It means letting go of your striving, your opinions, your doubts, your despair, and your fears. Life wants to happen through you. You don't have to do much other than get out of your own way. Love is your nature. Let it flourish and life shall unfold accordingly. This oracle brings a particular message regarding divine timing, that also significant factor in our dreams coming to life. Your time is fast approaching. It may even be now. It may seem least likely to you. There may be great darkness or confusion, and yet the unveiling of the new dawn is closest to the deepest of darkest of nights. Do not turn back or away from your progress. Your very next step shall be upon hallowed ground, rendered golden by the rays of the rising sun. Whew! Powerful, powerful process you're going through here, Cancer. I just want to acknowledge how difficult this is and how beautiful this is and how intense this is. And I want to salute you for going through this process, for being present with yourself, and for allowing love in your heart. So thank you so much for being here. If you resonated with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And may our practice benefit all beings. I'll see you next month.